Hello everybody, this is ManuS and welcome back to another Legends of Runeterra spoiler review. It's time to look at probably my favorite region right now, at least flavor-wise, which is Ionia. The latest spoilers were all the new Ionia cards, and it's actually a bit more than for the last regions, which is a bit odd, but I'll take it. We got a little more, got a few more cards spoiled for Ionia than we had for the other regions so far, so that's pretty cool. But you know the drill. Before we dive into spoiler review, hit the subscribe button down below to not miss out on future content. And now let me briefly introduce you to today's sponsor before we do. Today's video is sponsored by NordVPN, one of the leading virtual private network providers out there. A virtual private network keeps your data secure and yourself anonymous while using the internet. NordVPN comes with super fast servers, allows you to unlock your favorite entertainment websites like Netflix. They provide a 30-day money-back guarantee. They also have an included cybersecurity suite, which acts as an ad blocker to boot. They don't lock any of your data, provide a 24/7 customer support, and you can use it on up to 6 simultaneous connections, so one account covers most or all of your electronic devices. And most importantly, they don't have any bandwidth limit, so you can use it non-stop without it getting throttled, which is particularly important for heavy users like us. It also won multiple awards and comes highly recommended by top technology experts. So if you're still surfing online without a VPN, now is the time to change that. Get NordVPN now, 70% off for a 3-year plan, including 1 month extra for free using the code ManuS or the personalized link in the description down below. And now on to today's content. Alright, on to the spoilers. So first, we have a spell. It's called Retreat. It's basically a 2-cost recall, but instead of just returning an ally, you also create a fleeting return in hand, which looks like this. It's a 1-cost fleeting burst spell that summons an ally that costs 3 or less from hand. So basically, as total, this card costs 3, but also allows you to sort of regain up to 3 mana. So it effectively, in terms of tempo, costs 0. So for example, you can save a big unit from a removal, then use return to play a 3-drop at burst speed, which is also super relevant. Can do some really nice tricks there, especially with summon effects or just with blocking or getting an additional attacker without using an action. Just a really powerful and versatile thing, and also obviously matters for playing spells like for Ezreal triggers, and for like some new cards that we will see in a moment. So just a bunch of cool things that can be done here. And at the very worst, it lets you basically like save a unit and then play it right away if it's a small enough unit. In other cases, you can just make up for it by basically playing a cheap unit effectively and returning an expensive unit to protect it all in one go. Pretty interesting design. I kind of like it. It's pretty cool and interesting. And there are also a couple of nice synergies with new cards that we will see, and there will probably be more in the future. So kind of an interesting design here. And of course, there's also the upside of just, it's a free card, so you can discard it to a rummage to turn it into another card and stuff like this. There are a bunch of nice applications for free cards and cheap burst spells. Alright, on to the next one. It's a similar effect. This time both parts are a burst card and they once again cost 2 and 1. This is also, if I would have to guess, probably the champion spell for Lee Sin, the new champion that we will talk about more. First of all, because it makes sense flavor-wise. Second of all, it works well with him and his level up condition, so it would make sense. And it has him in the picture, which also helps. And also is something that we have seen in the other champion cards, usually that there is a part of the champion or the champion themselves in the artwork, be it like Darius X, Quinn's Bird, and so on and so forth. So yeah, this is probably the spell that Lee Sin turns into. Sonic Wave, it gives an ally challenger this round. Not that great for 2 mana, to be honest, but you get a fleeting resonating strike in hand as well, which means you can also give an ally +2/+0 this round. So in total, you get a over 2 spells +2/+0 in Challenger with particular flexibility, be it either to reuse the card for Rummage, like I said, get multiple spell triggers out of it, or just give Challenger to one unit and buff another, that sort of stuff. So yeah, all in all, pretty neat card. Interesting applications, flexible, burst speed. Not necessarily a card you might want to play 3 of in all decks, because the impact can vary and can be a bit marginal, but definitely like kind of an interesting and cool utility, especially if you have good Challenger units, like units with barrier, units with quick attack, that sort of stuff. So yeah, kind of a cool design here with these things, and looking forward to mess with those. Also plays well, obviously, with cards like Assembly Bot, because it's 2 cheap spells. There are a bunch of really cool applications for this. But let's move on. Next, we have Scales of the Dragon. Once again, the sort of like making a lot of spells and generating multiple cards thing is quite a theme here. In Ionia, this case, we get a 3-cost 4/2 that when he's summoned, creates a Dragon's Protection in hand, aka 2 mana slow, grant an ally +0/+3. Keep in mind, this is not this round, this is permanent. So you can either basically turn this into a 5-cost 4/5, so it's a 3-cost 4/2 that gives you a card, or effectively, like over 2 actions, a 5-cost 4/5, which is a bit overcosted, but it gives you a lot of flexibility to make up for that like 1 mana extra that it costs, which is neat. Not sure how good the card is going to be in Constructed. It might be a bit too weak, but it's certainly kind of an interesting design and a neat card, and also better in Expedition than in Constructed. We'll see if it can be good enough for Constructed. I'm not entirely sure. The thing is, like, the face value of like a 3-cost 4/2 on turn 3 is just kind of weak and might be holding the card back. Dragon's Protection, and next we have another sort of like spell unit card. Here we have Concussive Palm. It's a fast spell, it stuns an enemy and summons a Tail of the Dragon. So it's basically like a fast spell version of Arachnoid Sentry, which honestly is pretty good. First of all, works really well with Yasuo type stuff. Second of all, Tail of the Dragon, when it's recalled, you can transform it into Concussive Palm, so you can keep doing it again. It has spell synergy trigger stuff, so the stun matters for Yasuo, the spell synergies for other things. You can use spell mana to play it, and so on and so forth. Just a pretty cool and interesting card. I think the card is about as good as Arachnoid Sentry, just different upsides and downsides. But yeah, nice card to exist, and also a pretty important puzzle piece to make Yasuo more consistently good, and Blade Twirler as well. Like, for example, turn 1 nothing, turn 2 Blade Twirler, turn 3 Sentry or Concussive Palm suddenly gives you a lot more options to make your turn 2 Blade Twirler a really good 2-drop and a 3/3 quick attack at the very least on attacking on odds, which is really, really nice. Quite liking this card. One of the better cards that we've seen in this bunch. But yeah, let's move on. Next we have Claws of the Dragon, one of the cards that really benefits from these double spells that I mentioned. Claws of the Dragon is just your average 2-cost 3/2, except she has a really nice line. You summon her from hand once you play 2 spells this turn. So you can do some really cool stuff, like, for example, return your unit, then play a 3-drop. Like, for example, you play the 1-drop. You play the 1-drop or 2-drop. On turn 3, you can go return your 1 or 2-drop, then play the fleeting spell, make a 3-drop, and play Claws of the Dragon for free. And suddenly you have like 2 things in play, save something or reuse something that you already had in play, and even have some mana to spare or spell mana to spare and stuff like that. Just a bunch of really cool interactions here. This is something that looks really interesting for a bunch of decks, for Ezreal decks, for example, or new Lee Sin decks, for example. Just a lot of cool things, like 0-cost 3/2s are always interesting. And the fact that if you play 2 burst spells, this is effectively a 0-cost 3/2 Burst unit is pretty impressive too. This is might look a bit innocuous, but this has a lot of power potential, and it's a really cool and interesting card. Looking forward to brew and mess with this. Next we have Dragon's Rage. It's a 7-cost slow spell. An ally strikes an enemy and their nexus. If the enemy survives, recall it. So it's basically like Lee Sin's Dragon Kick. Also, that's the animation. He kicks the unit you are Dragon's Raging into the enemy nexus, deals damage to both, and then recalls it if it doesn't kill the unit. This would be the other candidate for Lee Sin's spell, but since it doesn't really help him level and is pretty clunky and doesn't synergize well with him, I would guess it's Sonic Burst instead of Dragon's Rage, since this wouldn't make as much sense as his spell, because normally they choose a spell that helps level up the champion, and this just doesn't do it. Sure, it's a spell, that's the only thing it does, but Lee Sin needs 7 spells to level up, and 2 cheap spells help with that. The one expensive spell doesn't. But we'll see. Anyway, that brings us to Lee Sin himself. So far, we've seen all the new champions are pretty expensive. I hope we'll get some cheaper champions. I guess we'll only get cheaper champions from the new region, if I had to guess. The cheapest was Maokai for 4. Everything else was 5 and 6. I honestly would have expected and liked Lee Sin to be a cheaper champion, because I mean, he is this like mobile, acrobatic, martial arts guy, and it's kind of weird to have him be this like clunky 6-cost 3/6, so that's a bit disappointing, I guess. It would have been cooler for him to be kind of like a 3-cost champion or something, like an early to mid game board presence that can do cool offense-defense stuff, like a tempo style champion, I guess. But yeah, when you cast a spell, you give him Challenger this round, and if you cast a second spell, it gives him Barrier this round. So there's some synergy with something like Shen, for example, for obvious reasons, and he's just pretty solid. I mean, he has high health, Challenge and Barrier, both good abilities. His level up condition doesn't require him to be in play, so you can potentially play him leveled up, depending on how you build your deck. And once you level him up, he looks like this. Comes a 4/7. He still retains the like Challenger Barrier thing, but on top, he Dragon's Rages enemies that he challenges. So whether he gets Challenger from a spell, or you give him Challenger otherwise, like for example with a two-round Duelist, he then plays Dragon's Rage. Like you play Dragon's Rage on the unit that he challenges to kick them around, basically. Yeah, pretty neat, like kind of a nice, annoying board control type champion. He does some really cool flashy stuff, like the animations and stuff look really cool. If you haven't seen it, check out the video, the reveal video. But yeah, bit mixed feelings. 6 is a lot for a champion like this, and he has very like defensive stats. He will probably need help to kill more impactful units, given his stats. But he looks pretty annoying, so he'll do some interesting stuff. Just kind of hard to say how he'll turn out. He's certainly not bad, but I'm not sure yet how good he will be. Honestly, we'll have to see. 6-cost champions that aren't like pushed like Hecarim, for example, are always a bit up in the air, I think. So would have to like see the rest of the cards, brew with him a bit, try some decks and see how he feels. But yeah, that's all the cards. And yeah, what do you guys think of all the Ionia spoilers and the sort of like double spell mechanic thing that they got going here? I think it's pretty cool. I wished Lee Sin would have been a cheaper, more accessible champion, but oh well. Let me know in the comments what your thoughts are and what you think of my assessments of the cards. And yeah, also show our sponsor, NordVPN, some love. You can find the link to the deal in the description down below. And yeah, you know the drill. Like, subscribe, leave a comment, share with your friends. and so on your way out. And that's it again for this time. I'm your host ManuS, and I'll see you next time. Bye.